evening, and welcome to the February 18th Falmouth Conservation Commission hearing. At this time, if you have any phones, electronic devices, please silence them. During the hearing, if you'd like to make a public comment, we will recognize you, go up to the podium and identify yourself for the record, and we encourage public comment, but that is to be done at the podium so that we can have you for public record. The first thing this morning, well, this evening, is the minutes. Yeah, I did. They all kind of blend into one another.
Yeah.
Minutes of February 11th, 2015.
Mr. Chair, I've read the minutes, and I believe they're correct and can be adopted as they are.
Second?
Okay. Mary's motion, Mike's second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous, so moved. Next is a discussion on Oyster Pond Environmental Trust by Wendy Bissler on a conservation restriction.
I'm Wendy Bissler with the Executive Director with Oyster Pond Environmental Trust. I hope you've had a chance to look over the draft that we've sent to you. I know there were some items of concern. I had sent an email to Jen outlining some possible wording to clarify. In particular, there's Section B, Section 8, which is on page 6. Well, I guess first I should start off, was there any questions you have for me regarding your concerns with the conservation restriction?
I had a question about this paragraph 8. I don't know that I would call it a concern.
Okay.
And
This is the one about the educational ecological.
yes,
Yeah.
and it caught my eye even before I got to item 9. The absence of a requirement for a report, which is included in the item 9 about the archaeological activities.
Okay.
And I was just curious
Yeah, I think
if that was a,
I think that's a good idea. I think we should, so my suggestion for item 8 was to kind of also have the fact that they need written notification to the grantee, which would be the Concom. So my suggested wording would be to start the paragraph 8 with after written notification and approval by grantee, and then the comma, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld, the right to permit ecological blah, 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 blah. But I think it's a good idea then to include the copy of the, yeah.
You do have it at the end of your paragraph, Wendy, a copy of any written results provided
does
to the
in there,
grantor.
okay.
Any scientific investigation on the premises
Okay.
is to be provided by
there.
the grantee. So it does
Okay.
cover,
Okay, so it is in there,
we have
okay.
written notification and approval by us, and then a copy of their results.
Yeah,
So that actually, what you had drafted in the email that you sent to me takes care of the language in that.
okay, yeah, it does, I can read, yeah. Ah, well, I was ahead of myself there, I didn't realize it.
I think that
Thoughts?
myself, I recall something being said at the original presentation, just briefly about that. I think that soothes the soul. That language kind of clears it up.
Yeah, I like it too, because I think it makes it kind of takes care of the fluffiness of it. It makes it a little bit more concrete, and so we know what the expectations
Correct,
are
yeah.
on both
And
sides.
that, to get a comfort level like that is really important.
Yeah, yeah, so I think that helps. Yeah, so so I think I came to you in last May initially about this. We, at the time, we were coming before you because the Concom and together we were working on submitting a grant to the state for what's called a land grant, LAND in large caps. And we needed a draft of this conservation restriction to submit with the land grant application. Well, unfortunately, we weren't successful in getting that grant, so that's one reason I was waiting to see if we were going to get that grant or not before I came back to and worked on the final wording for this CR. That's why you still see references in here to the land grant mentioned in the body of the CR. Of course, those all have to be taken out. But I figured we might as well do all the editing and try to do most of it at once before we kept going back to the lawyer and having them keep tweaking the language. So there was that one for the science. There was also in section B, part 2, so the page before this, they talked about having small signs identifying the grantee, the grantor and grantee. We were hoping actually to put up more of a kiosk at the trailhead, which would be at the end of Fells Road. It'd be typical of the kiosk you see in town and like in other locations. We want to put a trail map up there. We want to put some kind of way to identify the major donors of the land purchase. We'll have some kind of plaque or something on there. But it's not written in this CR right now, so we'd like to add some kind of wording in there about allowing a kiosk. All we have is small signs. Instead, we'd rather put
How about
it
you just add sign slash kiosk?
kiosk. Yeah,
Yep.
Makes
Make
it
it
simple.
yeah. And then the following section after that, section 3, we talk about putting in wooden or environmentally sensitive benches. And I know Jen was concerned that's a little squishy language, so I didn't know if you had any suggestions on how to make that a little bit more robust, to make it, I don't know if you have some standard language you like to use for that.
I just don't understand what an environmentally sensitive sitting bench is.
I guess they're thinking, like, if it's not wood, maybe it's stone or granite.
Composite materials, recycled materials.
Yeah, it could be kind of that composite wood, plastic, or stuff.
Yeah, to make it less cumbersome, maybe change the construction a little to say repair and maintenance of sitting benches made of wood or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that would segue into it better. You have the function and then what the materials are after that. The function and maintenance of.
Sitting benches made of wood or recycled materials, something like that.
Well, then you have stone. That's why environmentally sensitive was used, because it kind of covers all things.
Okay, then that's fine.
Is environmentally sensitive fine then? Can we just keep it?
Yeah, just switch it around.
Okay. Alright. And those are the 3 things that were flagged for me. I don't know if you had any other things you were.
So basically, we're going to add kiosk
Mm-hmm.
to page 5, rearrange the sentence on B3 on page 5,
Yeah.
add the paragraph that you sent me in your email about
Yeah,
written notification
uh-huh.
and approval on page 6,
Yeah.
and take out all
Well, the land.
references to the land grant.
Yeah.
It's fine with me?
Maybe a description on, Mike just brought up again, to try to really keep things on the prohibited. You have a construction of any roads, driveways, or clearing of vegetation, removal of or movement of soils, or blah, blah, blah. Maybe a maintenance of trails at a certain width, at a prescribed width, no more than,
Okay, I think that's under the reserved rights. It's,
Yeah, that's
there is
B3.
a
Yeah, it says
Creation,
creation,
use,
use,
and maintenance of
trails. It's right before the discussion about the benches.
Right.
Okay. Page 5, B3. Creation, use, and maintenance of trails.
Right, but what width?
What is
What
the difference
width?
between a road and a trail?
We're just talking about a trail
Oh,
width.
how about
Oh,
maintenance
you
of
wanna-
trails?
Oh, so we
more than.
could creation, use, and maintenance of trails no wider than.
Right,
Yeah. And they should be handicap accessible.
Well, then
You
now,
don't say that,
now.
but it should be wide. Don't make them so narrow they can't be.
Yeah, because I think a standard trail for 2 people to walk
4
side by side is at 4 feet.
4 feet.
I would say
That'd be
all of
fine.
that, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
no
that's
wider
fine.
than 4 feet?
They never get simpler. They always get more complex with it.
So no wider than 4 feet is okay?
Got it.
Okay,
And that keeps anything.
Okay.
okay. So I'll work on this word, I'll send this to our lawyers,
Okay.
and then, or maybe I can even do it. Send it to a lawyer and have them look, and then I'll send it back to you. So then, do I need to come back then before you guys?
Would you like
for
to
a
see the
vote, or-
final draft, or?
Why don't we?
Okay,
If it's
Okay.
not,
come back.
you can
Sure.
come back and,
Yeah.
there may be something you brainstormed along the way.
Yeah,
And just notify
okay.
staff.
So yeah, just let me know when it's all said and done, we'll
Okay.
get you in here
I'll
real
send
quick
it.
for a final review.
Okay,
And we'll
great.
go from there.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank
you.
you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
I
good
lost
night.
my agenda already. I did.
Okay,
Sure, I read. No, I want mine.
moving on, we have requests
Already
for
written all
continuance
over
under a determination of applicability. First is 7 Pine Bank Road, North Falmouth.
Seriously, what did I do with it? I don't know. Hang on one sec. Let me see this. For right now. Request for continuance under Pine Bank Road. Yes, the applicant's representative is requesting a continuance until April 8th.
So-
Because of weather conditions.
So moved?
Second.
Michael's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion on the board? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 207 Coonamessett Circle, Hatchville, Mass.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant representative is requesting a continuance until March 25th. Again, weather conditions.
So moved.
Second.
That's Russell's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion on the board? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss that project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 201 Coonamessett Circle, Hatchville, Mass.
Again, Mr. Chairman, the applicant's requesting a continuance until March 25th due to weather conditions.
So moved.
Second?
Mary's motion, Michael's second. Any further discussion on the board? Is there anyone in the audience on this project that would like to speak? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. This is a request to withdraw
Withdraw.
a determination of applicability.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is withdrawing their RDA application.
Outstanding. Next is a request to continue hearing under a notice of intent, 342 Acapesket Road, East Falmouth, Mass.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continuance until March 18th.
So moved.
Okay, Mary's motion, Mario's second. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to discuss that project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next, we have Moving into the request for determination of applicability. This is the lesser of the two permits that we issue. Staff goes out and then makes a recommendation to the board. So when you hear a negative determination, that is what you want to hear, because that means the project can go as discussed with staff. The first one has been continued, that's 7 Pine Bank Road, has been continued to April 8th. Moving on is 79 Old Dock Road, West Falmouth, Mass. For permission to pump, fill, and abandon the existing cesspool and install a new Title V sewage disposal system to replace the crushed stone driveway and to loom and seed front lawn.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the staff has reviewed the project. We're recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Russell's motion, Mary's second. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to discuss this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous, so moved.
Mike. Mike.
We have, the next one is been withdrawn. And we move on to continued requests for determination, and both of those have been postponed. And we're moving on to requests for a hearing under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are simultaneously held under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. First is 54 Kerry Lane for permission to raise, R-A-Z-E, the existing house and construct a single-family 5-bedroom house with attached garage, decks, to install a swimming pool with wood decking, pool fence, planters, native mitigation plantings, new Title V sewage disposal system, driveway, utilities, dry wells, and the associated clearing, excavate, grading, and landscaping. Thank you.
Thank you for the grant. My name is Tom Bunker of VSS Design. We prepared this plan for Formelda Sommier clients. The property is at 54 Cary Lane, fronts on Buzzards Bay. They have an existing conditions plan here that has a house that was built about 1978. Just at the beginning of the wetlands protection and the flood zones. As you can see, the house is, well, back up, there's a slope going up from Buzzards Bay, and the waters of Buzzards Bay and upland are in flood zone VE, elevation 23. And it slopes at steeper than 10%, so that land there facing north and west be considered a coastal bank. Generally, to the limit of the flood zone, there's a small area where the slope is a little bit steeper than 10%, where there's a little bulge of the flood zone going further inland, right in here, and down here there's a little bit of area where the land is a little bit less than 10% within the flood zone. But it's coastal bank generally follows the line of the flood zone, and there's somewhat of a distinct break in the bank that you can see. Maybe not with all the snow on it, but without the snow you can see it. So this existing house, the deck on the house, everything basically was built up to what is now considered the coastal bank. There's in the A zone of the coastal bank, 3,454 square feet of house and driveway in the A zone, and another 1,700 square feet of driveway and a little bit of the house in the B zone to the bank. What they propose to do to raise the house and build a new house further back from the bank than the existing house. On those plans, the existing house is in a light gray line on that plan. It will be, I believe, about 40 feet further back. The house will be 40 feet back from the bank than what the existing house is now. There will be a pool, a swimming pool on the water side of the house in this location. This is closer to the bank than the house is, but it is further back from the bank than the existing house is. There's about 15 feet from the top of the coastal bank to the planter, which is just a small planter that's below and parallel to the wall of the swimming pool. It's 15 feet back from the coastal bank, which is 15 feet more than what the existing house has. And then the planter is 4 feet wide, and the swimming pool is back from that. So it's almost 20 feet back from the coastal bank in that location. I point out in the narrative, there is presumed to be, by the Falmouth wetland regulations, another 25 feet of velocity zone landward of the FEMA velocity zone. But in this instance, I would argue that presumption should not be taken as fact, because the land is higher than the velocity zone. I mean, already the land is higher than the velocity zone as it is there. Even a 3-foot wave wouldn't make it to where the velocity zone is drawn by FEMA. I'm not arguing the FEMA line though, but I would say that the extra 25 feet tacked onto that by the FWR can't have 3-foot high waves in that location where actually the land is higher than the top of the waves. So basically on the coverage, the table of coverages, the new house will take up, the house and the pool will take up just under 2,000 square feet in the A zone. That's a reduction of 1,456 square feet in the A zone. In the B zone, because we moved it back, is where there's an increase in the B zone of 2,500 square feet. There is a net increase in lot coverage of 1,072 square feet. All of this is in the B zone. And so I'd say at a 2-to-1 mitigation ratio, we would be required to plant 2,144 square feet. And what we've shown here, basically most of the bank landward of the house, where that lawn area goes down steeply down there, most of that bank in this location is being planted with the native shrubs. And then a little bit more up in this location here. In addition, there are 5 trees being removed from the A zone. There's 1 cedar up here and 4 more trees down in this location. So 5 trees being removed, and we are planting 10 trees, 8 along this property line here, cedar trees along here, and 2 more cedar trees up in that location. All of which, well, most of them are in the A zone. Some go back into the B zone. That is our proposal. The septic system will be an improvement, because right now the existing septic system is less than 100 feet from the coastal bank. Title V or the Falmouth wetland regulations require a 100-foot setback, so the septic system is more than 100 feet from the coastal bank. Dry wells will be added. All of the driveway is more than 100 feet from the coastal bank. I'll take questions.
Thank you. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Tom, on your argument about the V-zone,
Yes.
so you're saying that the wave heights will reach elevation 26, correct? Because you get elevation 23.
No.
No? Okay.
No, the flood zone is the top of the 3-foot wave, so the top of the wave is at 23.
Top of the wave is at 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Did you do a model on that?
Excuse me?
Did you do a model on that? Wave run-up or anything like that
I
for
did
us?
not do wave run-up, I just saying what's the definition of the velocity zone.
Can you get one to the administrator, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Why do you have show 2 coastal banks? FEMA and Falmouth. And if you said it before and I missed it, I apologize.
Why did I do that?
I've never seen you do that before. That's what kind of caught me on this one. It's like, what is Tom up to?
I'm using the more restrictive, the more conservative A zone from the Falmouth wetland regulations.
So why do you measure your coastal banks differently than that? That's what I'm asking.
Well, one is based on the FEMA V zone, the other is based on the Falmouth wetland regulation V zone.
You've never distinguished between this before. Why
Why?
start now?
I'd be glad to take it off.
No, I was just curious. When I see you guys doing things you've never done before, it kind of quirks my interest.
No,
I start
it's
looking at things a
nothing in
little bit more
particular.
closely.
That extra bit, makes a very small difference.
Either that or you got really happy with CAD and you were just throwing all sorts of lines
That's
on
it.
them.
I'm happy when I'm doing CAD.
Yeah. That's okay. The only real issue I have with the proposed design, Tom, is, and we have done this in other cases where we see the pool fences, is I want that pool fence tightened up so all your mitigation plantings are outside that pool fence. I do not want to see you outside the pool fence. Okay, so you have I want that fence tightened up so the mitigation plantings are not inside the pool fence. Okay? I can give you about 3 examples off the top of your head, Eric, where the board has required it done in the past. So just say, yes, I'll tighten that fence up a little bit.
If that's
and pull it in.
non-negotiable, and
What was that?
if that's non-negotiable,
Well, yes, staff is gonna say it is, and I know about 2 or 3 commissioners that have expressed concerns about it, so I'm sure it is gonna be non-negotiable.
what's the reasoning behind that?
Basically, they'll become manicured plants. I'd rather have all the mitigation plantings not have a fence system through them, especially since your fence is at one point 30 feet from the edge, 35 feet from the edge of the patio. I do understand the building department does require a pool fence around the pool for safety, but it does not need to be 35 feet away from that pool edge. That's on one side. The other side, the pool fence is, do you want to know that number? 90. So tighten it up a bit so my mitigation plantings are
All the mitigation
outside, and that will be in that big area where you have mitigation, in that small little group of mitigation on the side. And that's it. Those are my only concerns, and I was just looking at your coastal bank thing. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mike?
Jen took everything from me. I'm done.
Russ?
No questions.
Mary?
No questions.
Mario?
Well, from a practical standpoint, I was there last week, and I was faced with a 4-foot-high berm of snow that prevented access. And in that, we're looking at a potential violation here. There's just no way that,
Oh, yeah, that's right,
you know what
Mario.
I mean? I couldn't see, although the ortho photos show that there's been an incremental removal of vegetation.
That's correct. Sorry about that, Tom. Mark had pointed out when he was looking back over the aerials, the area where you have the word coastal bank on your plans looks like it's been heavily altered, in particularly the last 2 years. and he went out and got some pictures, so that the board, I passed down 2 sets. You can have this set too if you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Tom, these just came right off the aerials. And if you look at, let's go from like 2009 to 2011, you can definitely see,
You can see the vegetation on the 05.
Yeah.
On the 05.
05
You'll
and
see
even
there's
more
been kind of an
clearly in
incremental-
09 to 2011, and that will need to be addressed.
Hard to say, I mean, it's all vegetated, I don't know if there've been trees, I mean, on some of this, because it's from the other lot.
Yes,
but
but
we're not-
most of
we're
it's
not-
on your lot, Tom.
Is that-
Most of it's on your lot. Oh yeah, both lots. But it does look like the vegetation's been altered. So that will have to be addressed in the future. We probably can't address it at this point because of the snow cover. But please inform your clients that it will need to be addressed in the future. Okay?
Is there any way this can be, I don't know, continued until the snow kind of melts off and we can actually see for ourselves what kind of a violation we may be looking at?
Well, that I think can be viewed, if I may, separately.
Under
from this.
enforcement.
Under
You
an
know,
enforcement order?
what they're being is put on notice that this is an activity that has been recognized by staff, and until, for everybody's edification, till the snow melt, it's just there, and we don't know what it is, but it is something. So it will be revisited. Mark is pretty tenacious about that stuff.
During the season where there, all the leaves are pretty well vegetated. I haven't seen anything.
Mark's going off
this.
of the aerials, so, and I think some older pictures he had from the site compared to what he has now. So just as Tom said, on notice that it will need to be addressed.
Something to look forward to after
Yeah.
Easter.
Tom, how long will it take you to get me a revised plan with a revised pool fence?
Well,
A week.
A week?
I also have a question for you. Are you done?
Yes, I am.
On the seaward and port sides of the pool, there will be a planter 2.5 foot lower than the swimming pool deck surface to eliminate the need for railing along the patio edge. The swimming pool deck surface will be wood with gaps to allow drainage through, so there will be no runoff. And the water that flows through the deck will be captured in the planter and not run down the bank. Now, the profile that you supplied
Yeah.
kind of shows all that.
I didn't get into the detail of, just showing the basic top outline of the planter and the pool deck,
Okay.
but this, wood deck will be on posts around the pool, so there'll be land, ground underneath that deck.
That's what I was going with that. Go through to what? What's the subsurface down in there? If you're planning to capture this, that you feel that the planters, to prevent runoff,
It's not to prevent it, I imagine underneath the deck would probably be the pea stone or something, but
okay?
where the planter is outside of the deck, then, there'll be,
Right, so,
I think it'll just be actually grass there, people would sit on the edge of the deck, with their feet over,
okay,
but there'll be a lip on the edge of that planter, so if any water gets that far and doesn't just go straight into the pea stone or whatever's under the deck, it'll be caught in that planter.
I would like to know what you're gonna have underneath the deck. I don't wanna have it just a bare earth type of thing. There should be some kind of description of how you're gonna prepare that surface,
Yeah.
please. However you, yes, Mario?
Is a fence considered a structure?
Not generally, no.
Well,
A
they have
gray area?
considered
I don't know.
structures in the V-zone before. The pool fence is required,
It's required though.
it's required by the building department, but it's not required to be 90 feet away from the pool. I mean, it's to enclose the pool.
So it's a quasi-structure?
Well, it's not a primary structure, there is
It's not a
that.
primary
yeah.
structure, right. 'Cause it's
Don't
not
get hung
shown
up on the word structure.
The fence is not shown on the cross-section.
Oh, this cross-section, I think, was just
missing
was not
That's just the
to
waiver
show
on,
the
yeah,
fencing and
that's,
stuff. This was just to give a description of where he,
Okay.
yeah.
what's going to count is what's on the big plan.
Right.
Um, One concern that I have about the fence is just its effect on the regulatory situation. And is it possible for us to, in the order of conditions, state that this does not constitute, the frontier of where the A zone has, well, I mean, it's actually the coastal bank itself. But in terms of things not being able to move closer to the resource.
It's his primary structure. I would
It's
never,
all- okay.
ever
All
allow
right.
the board to consider a fence to be a primary
Okay.
structure. I'd go down fighting on that one.
I think we're covered.
I understand where you were going with it, Mary, but it's, no.
Okay.
Other,
I was not recollecting that was
No, it's primary structure.
specified as a primary structure.
so the last comment the engineer had was a week's worth of time to show these improvements on the plan.
So if you need a week to do the plan, Tom, we're looking at the 4th for a hearing date?
I will not be here the 4th, so it would have to be here, not go to the 11th.
We're not meeting on the 11th. How about the 18th?
Mr. Chairman, I'm Bob Ament, I'm an attorney, and I represent the applicants. Is it really necessary to continue the hearing simply for the purpose of showing where the fence moves, or can't that be a condition of your approval? Can't we just get that into you, and you'll see that it's shown on the plan?
The chairman wants to see what the subsurface of the pool is going to be made of as well.
There are just a couple items with this continuance. It's not up for debate with the continuance. It's just to accept this information and close the hearing. I do not expect any other debates. All the issues that were concerned by the board are addressed right now, and it just cleans it up. I have a...
I don't want to be tasked in the next
Well,
couple of
and
weeks with
plus,
reviewing plans with,
Once the revised
Yeah.
plan is in, it gives us an opportunity to show what the engineer has done with that, exactly where that fence is going to be in perpetuity.
Thank you.
the 18th, Tom? Because we don't meet the 11th.
I could see if Jeff could come on the 4th. He might be coming anyway.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's just
It's
to get a plan
literally
in.
to get the new information, the revised plan, we look at it, unless you went...
Why don't we, we'll continue to the 4th. If Jeff can't make it, then we'll do another continuance at that time to the 18th. How about that? Okay.
So that is the 4th of...
March?
The request of the applicant, I move
Thank you, Tom.
that we continue the hearing to March 4th.
Mr. Mayor's motion, Russell's second. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss this project?
I'm not here to discuss it, I'm just here to monitor it on behalf of the Cary Lane Association.
Okay.
And that,
Mr. Chairman.
clause,
If you'd like to have a little bit more discussion, please come up and identify yourself at the podium. You're more than welcome to do so if you'd want to.
I'm David Babbitt, I'm president of the Cary Lane Association. We have a restriction that the Cary Lane Association has 30 days after the final plans are submitted to vote on it. And that's why I'm just trying to find out, as it looks now, the final plan will be in either on the 3rd,
4th, March 4th,
March 4th, or the
18th. If that, I'm anticipating the 4th because it's just receiving the revised plans. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Okay, so then there's a month after that.
21 days to to vote the orders after
Mr.
that.
Chairman, that we have 21 days to vote the order, sir. Whatever the Kerry Lane Association covenants are, that's completely separate from this
Yeah,
board.
so it's a month. So we're looking probably at the start of the building date sometime in April. Is that what you were planning? Yeah.
And that would depend on,
There's a couple more steps along the way. There's other
Probably later.
departments that they have to do a couple hurdles. This is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. There's a
Okay, but the plans are, that's when the official plans will
Yes.
be ready, and then we have 30 days,
Yes,
which is tough for me because half the people half the board members are in Florida or somewhere else.
Well, you're going to need to work that out with the property owner.
That's the trouble with volunteer jobs.
I can appreciate that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
thank you.
Next is a continued request for a hearing under a notice of intent, and that was continued to
March 18th.
18.
March 18th, thank you. And then this is a continued request to amend the existing order of conditions on 11 Ottawa Lane, Falmouth, Mass. Request to amend the existing order of conditions to reduce the size of the house, relocate, to remove and relocate the swimming pool, driveway, install a driving court with retaining wall, catch basin, dry wells, reduce the mitigation planting, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant. I'm joined here tonight by Amy Wolfson of Blue Flax Design. She did Blue Flax Design did the mitigation planting plan and the coastal bank restoration plan that was previously submitted. I'm also joined by Jen Malilla of Centerline Design, landscape designer who submitted a plan showing the specific landscape design in and around the house, pool, driveway, and pool shed area. We're also joined by John Dvorak, the architect for the Conways, and Kevin Flower from Arment Law Firm. At the last hearing a couple of weeks ago, we didn't really present the project. We had some very basic general discussion, and the commission wanted the site staked, so we continued it for 2 weeks so that we could stake it, and we did, in the interim, make some revisions to the plan package, and we submitted new plans, revised plans, I should say, and some supplemental information. So we staked the site. We submitted revised site plans because we made some very minor modifications to them that were actually, I think, beneficial. We submitted revised impervious surface calculation plans. Those are those smaller shaded plans that show the differences between the existing condition impervious surfaces and the proposed condition impervious surfaces. We submitted a revised plan by Blue Flax Design, which basically increased the required mitigation planting. We submitted a landscape plan by Centerline Design, which showed the details in and around the house, pool area, and driveway area. We also submitted 12 copies of the originally approved site plans that were approved at the time when the order of conditions was issued to the Huffmans. So the plans that are referenced in that original order were submitted so you could compare. So those are the new submittals. There's not really a lot of difference in what we had submitted Originally, as compared to what we have tonight, other than was a rather significant change in impervious surface calculation, which required more mitigation. But I'll get into that in a minute. So, originally, when we had designed the plan and calculated the impervious surface calculations, we had taken into account a portion of Ottawa Lane that's not on the lot. But it was the driveway that leads to, I should say, the existing house. We had thought it would be a good idea to include this as an area to be removed and then planted, which then made the overall required mitigation planting less. But since it's not on the lot, and there was some concerns by an abutter, we eliminated that from the calculation. So that portion of Ottawa Lane will just continue to be as it is, and at the property line, it would be the driveways to be removed. And that's reflected on those small exhibits. They're 11 by 17. So that had the effect of requiring an additional mitigation planting, which is on the Blue Flax design plan. And Amy Wolfson from Blue Flax Design will go through the details of that in a few minutes. We made some minor modifications to the actual pool terrace. It's slightly smaller. And we also reduced the length of the retaining wall along this side of the driveway, and instead of just going to grade it down. And lastly, we added a drain on the driveway to collect the surface runoff. Originally, I'd submitted a letter with my request to amend the order of conditions, and I highlighted why we did it as an amendment and what the differences were. The original plans that were approved by you gave permission to build a new house, demolish the existing house, build all of the same elements that are in this plan. The only differences are basically the shape of the house, the size of the house, the driveway alignment to the new house, removal of an existing pool that's very close to the top of the coastal bank, and then building the pool in a different location further from the coastal bank. All of those changes didn't change the project in effect as far as what's proposed, just different house design, and therefore all of the appurtenances are slightly different. And that had some improvement impacts from what was previously approved. So if I could, I'd just like to just review my letters, because it's sort of like a sort of a summary. The amendments that are being requested are because the house driveway design have been modified. The grading scheme and retaining walls that were originally approved have been modified, reduced. The existing pool, which is shown on the existing conditions plan in this location, is right at the top of the coastal bank. So this is to be removed, pumped first, of course. The top pieces that are like within a foot or two of the ground surface would be removed, and the pool would be filled with earth and then graded, so that you're not excavating the entire pool to the pool depth. The new pool's in a different location. Instead of being here, right at the top of the bank, it's being moved over here. And it's being designed to work into the slope and terrace into the existing grades that exist on the site. there's a different amount of mitigation planting as a result of this. And that's shown on the plans, the notes, and then on the Blue Flax design plan. And finally, another reason to request the amendment is the property has the title has transferred from the Huffmans to the Conways, so the amendment would be able to reflect the new ownership. So this new house design has been designed to and modified to work better with the existing grades. The architect, John Dvorak, came up with a scheme that allowed for the driveway to meander off of an Ottawa lane and then gain access to a parking area in this location, instead of what was originally approved in this location was more main body of the new house. So instead of this area being actual house with foundation walls excavated in close proximity to the top of that bank, that's going to be a parking area after the existing house is demolished. The overall size of the house structure has been reduced from 5,031 square feet to 4,396 square feet. And as I just alluded to, a significant portion of the house itself, which was approved and proposed in this location, has been changed, and the house is in a orientation this way, so that less of it is along and adjacent to the top of that coastal bank. The new house design and pool design, because they work better with the existing contours, eliminates a significant number of larger retaining walls that were on the original plan. The original plan had the driveway coming pretty much straight through, and there were wing walls on both sides, and there was a parking area in front of the house that required a dramatic, significant amount of fill. So those retaining walls have been modified to work better with the contours. This has had the result of reducing the overall estimated amount of fill for the project from 2,500 cubic yards to 1,800 cubic yards, or approximately 700 cubic yard reduction. To refresh your memory, another reason we had thought it best to do this as an amendment, some of the work has started on the project that was approved from the original order of conditions. This includes a lot of the invasive removal and tree removal that was previously approved. The previously existing 4-car garage that was in this location has been demolished and removed. So that sort of preliminary work that would be done regardless of the house design that ultimately is constructed here has commenced. It commenced last, I think it was last fall. So based on all of these design changes, in our opinion, there's less impact to this project than the one that was actually previously approved. So we think it's an improvement environmentally, and it works better with existing conditions on the site. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Amy Wolfson from Blue Flax Design, and then she'd be followed by Jen Malilla, and then we're all here to answer questions.
Good evening. My name is Amy Wolfson, and I am with Blue Flax Design. So I'm going to talk about two components of this planting plan, restoration plan, that make it different from the previously approved plan. The first component is the mitigation that is proposed on this plan. So this plan proposes 2,540 square feet of mitigation, and that includes 152 shrubs. The shrubs that are proposed to be planted are arrowwood viburnum, fragrant sumac, winterberry holly, red chokeberry, northern bayberry, inkberry holly, shrubby cinquefoil, Virginia rose, and sweet fern. And all of the proposed mitigation areas, which are shaded in pink on the restoration planting plan that you have, I know you have a lot of plans in front of you. So it's the one that has the pink shaded area. All of the mitigation areas directly abut either the resource area or areas that we're currently restoring. So those areas that are being restored right now, which are in yellow and green on the planting plan. The second component of this plan that I'm going to address is the trees. So one important component is that we are proposing to remove 4 severely pruned trees that are on the coastal bank right now. They are shown as red circles on the coastal bank right over here. These trees have been historically cut and poorly managed by previous owners of the property, and the area where they are growing right now had been previously heavily invaded by invasive vegetation. You couldn't even see the trees before. And now that this area has been cleared of the invasive vegetation, their poor condition was revealed to us. And we believe that they won't become mature canopy trees. So we've shifted the view corridor to include these trees, and we're proposing to remove them and replace them at a 2-to-1 ratio. This plan also proposes to remove 2 additional trees for the proposed redevelopment, a 6-inch cedar and a 22-inch cedar, which are also shown in red circles. There's a 30-inch oak that was previously approved to be removed on the coastal bank, and that tree is now being saved. So that tree is right over here, so that is no longer so overall, we are proposing to plant 32 trees. So we're replanting trees at a 2-to-1 ratio. We're proposing to plant oak trees, pitch pine, American holly, eastern red cedar, and serviceberry. And all of these trees provide or bring important wildlife habitat to the coastal bank and buffer zone resource areas. The 2 large beech trees on the site will be protected during construction using construction fence around the entire drip line, and the root area of the trees will be covered with wood chip mulch. The oak trees that are on that peninsula are being treated for gall wasp infestation by licensed arborists. And we also made sure to incorporate the concerns of the neighbors regarding the eastern red cedars that were proposed along the property line over here. So we have shifted them further away from the property line, and we've also proposed to plant Virginia rose in the area to create wildlife connectivity between 11 Ottawa Lane and the neighboring property, because they've also planted Virginia rose in that same area. So we believe that these additions to the plan will be beneficial to the site. And those are the tree changes and the mitigation changes, are the 2 main changes from this plan and the previous one. And now I'll give it over to Jen. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Malilla from Centerline Studios Landscape Architecture. And what I've basically done is just sort of fill in the blanks where Blue Flax has done their mitigation, and John has done a lot of work with the architecture and the structural elements. So I have designed some of the pool structure, the pool and the pool patio. If we just want to start there, it's not super clear on the plan, but it would be a stone patio of sorts with a drainage feature, which would be like a decorative stone with crushed stone underneath that would capture any runoff from the pool deck. So this whole area here is creating no extra runoff whatsoever to the site. I've also, done some of the planting plans in the areas other than the mitigation, and if you have any questions about the list, it's pretty extensive. You can ask me that. The parking court as well is pea stone, so it's pervious. There's also a drain if needed in the center to capture any, if there were to be any sort of runoff or whatever reason. The driveway, like Mike mentioned, has a drain now with a Cape Cod berm at the edge so that water can be channeled to one side and then captured. So there really should be no runoff from the driveway, very minimal. The lawn up here is mostly existing, and we're just sort of tailoring the shape of it really to accommodate the removal of the pool and putting back, regrading gently in that area. In fact, we've given up some lawn near the top of Coastal Bank. Currently, there's lawn that really goes right out to this area here. And so we've sort of given up this swath here, a bit of lawn there, and some along the edges here to accommodate for the mitigation. The rest of it is just foundation plantings, which are non-invasive, and just trying to really supplement this area with some more plantings, a mix of shrubs, and there's some larger trees already there. There's a few proposed, and some herbaceous materials to kind of stabilize the site after regrading.
We can open up for all kinds of questions, I'm sure. You all set, Mike? Okay. Jen? I'm going to start down with Mario this time.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just out of curiosity, what's a drive court? Is that like a moving parking lot? I mean, what is it?
It's a place where cars park in more of a squarish area. So it's a place for cars to park and to be able to maneuver their turnaround in that one area.
And it's permeable, you say it's gravel?
This one is proposed as pea stone, so it's
Pea stone.
it's pervious.
No problems.
Mary?
I guess this is probably a question for Mike. Actually, two. More specific one is that it looks like in the amended plan, there's an irregular shaped area. It says seat wall. It's roughly where the existing pool is.
Here?
Yeah. Can you just explain it? Just explain what that is.
The seat wall aspect
The
of
seat
it?
wall and whatever it may be around.
Okay, well, this circular feature is a place where there'd be a fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
So this gray shaded area is basically patio area just outside the house that's edged with a wall that would be elevated slightly from it so you can sit on it.
Okay.
And that would be around, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, around the fire pit area, there's a break here that you can just walk off. And this stone patio Actually, I think I misspoke. This section is not seat wall on the main section.
No, that's just a step off.
That's
The
just a step
patio's
off.
slightly higher than the
Thank you. So it's just the outside area to walk and then go over to the fire pit.
Okay, I'm still a little confused about, it appears to me this wall surrounds an area, is that correct, or is this all?
Oh.
I'm wondering what it surrounds.
This irregular shape, if you look on sheet 1 of the plan set, if you would like, but I will tell you what, that's the pool that exists.
Uh-huh, oh, okay, and,
That's a pool that is there, and it just has no, it was poorly laid out in our opinion. It's very close to the top of the coastal granite.
right,
It certainly doesn't relate to this house at all, so that's to be removed completely.
okay,
So that,
and filled,
yes, so that it's going to become outside lawn and landscape.
Lawn,
area.
okay,
Yeah, so
all
it's
right.
basically moving away from the top of the coastal granite.
right. I just was not sure what that was depicting.
On sheet 1, the existing conditions plan, there's a note, I believe, that says that that's to be removed, and the narrative describes that.
Okay. And my other question is, it looks to me like, compared to the order that's already been approved, the required mitigation has almost exactly doubled, is that correct? 1270 to 2536.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you just, I don't want to get bogged down in arithmetic, but, you know, the house is smaller. Can you just describe what accounts for that substantial increase?
I'm going to explain it in basic terms, comparing what was previously approved.
Perfect.
What was previously approved was a different shape, and it was actually, some portions of it were in a different location than this. The previously approved plan, if you were to look at the Huffman mitigation notes, there was actually a reduction in impervious surface in the A zone. Even though the overall project was bigger, there was a reduction in the A zone. And the way that we're allowed to calculate the impervious surfaces, because there was a reduction in the A zone, but an increase in B, we can take that as a credit. In this case, unfortunately, there is an increase, slight increase in the A zone, so there's no credit to take. And then there was an increase in the B zone. So it has like a compounding effect to the mitigation numbers. A lot of the surfaces that are on the new plan are not house or roof like the other plan. The parking court is where there was house, but the house that was proposed wasn't quite as big. So even though the house is smaller than what was approved, the surface that we have to count, because it's Keystone driveway, is bigger. That's an example. We're even counting the bluestone, they'll be set on lawn, but we counted that. That wasn't on the other plan. And every time you add a square foot in the A zone, it's 3 square feet, so it has a significant compounding effect. That's basically the best way I think I can answer it, unless I showed you, like on my computer, the shapes and the area calculations.
Right, no, that's fine, that makes sense. That's what I believed was going on, but just wanted to hear it. And one last thing, the driveway down to Lanawa Lane, the material for that, also, what, the materials?
I believe that's going to be a paved, because we want to control it and be able to plow it.
Yeah.
And have the snow melt from it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be drained.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Russ?
No questions.
I shouldn't wear glasses. Mike?
I agree, I think it's a better use, as in protective. And I think we're gonna wanna see a dry well detail someplace.
Gotcha.
Are you sure there's not one on that?
I maybe,
There's so much paper at this point, it's hard to know.
Sheet 3.
Yep,
3.
typical leaching catch basin.
you did, I took it apart to, I took the plan apart to overlay. All right, you got it.
I have the catch.
All right, there you go, all right, I thought you were just saving you from the chairman.
You all set?
All right, I'm very happy, yep, I'm fine.
Got a couple. On the Blue Flags plan, you made a description. Where was the first view corridor? Just out of curiosity.
The first view corridor was in a very similar space. It went over the previous pool, the existing pool.
Okay.
So, like, more like this.
Okay. Thank you. And then, protecting the beech trees. My comment to that, I don't want just an orange fence. I want metal stakes, snow fence, and you can put the orange fence around it. I want something that somebody goes up against it,
You can't get,
it scratches, it dents, it makes a mess.
okay.
All right, it just seems to be that no matter how much you want to protect that drip line, I have 6-foot chain link fence around trees on the site that I'm in, and it still gets, people push right to you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So it's just something that,
Okay.
site management here, because you have a lot of activity on this, if you think, you can almost gauge it by how many sheets you get. I think it is a good improvement. I think that's all I get for you right now. I did like the design of the old house, and I like this one even better. I think this is, when you start talking in descriptions about not fighting Mother Nature as much and not having to regrade, and you actually, I do like the fire pit and the parking court. I think those are gonna be, sometimes I get over, just like to gush on the aesthetics of something, because when it's nice looking, it's nice looking. It's gonna be kind of a poop to plow, though. You get across the pea stone, you can just push that all on the planting beds. I wrote something else down somewhere on one of these sheets, but you're gonna get away with it, because I'm not gonna go through it. Nah, I got that one down. So, if the board doesn't mind, before we make a motion, I will see if anyone in the audience would like to discuss this.
Maria Hickey from Maria Hickey and Associates Landscapes. We just had a couple of quick questions. I'm here representing Daniel Vlock, the abutter. And thank you, John. He did send us the mitigation planting plan yesterday, so we had a chance to look at it beforehand. I know 2 weeks ago you had mentioned asking them to do that, but we hadn't seen the one by Jennifer. We never got that sent. So we actually had some questions on it. So one being, and maybe I missed this, but down below, there's a patio and a fireplace that's falling apart and it's in disrepair. And you're showing on your plan a deck that conservation asked the blocks to remove. On their property, this one's your plan right here, correct? Oh, am I looking at the wrong one? Is it shown down below too? It says existing patio to remain.
There were some structures removed in this
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. So we just want to know what the future plan is on this patio. It definitely is a huge eyesore for our clients looking over, and also this doesn't exist anymore, although we would love to be able to put a platform
Well,
down.
we'll cross that one on another day.
Okay,
We're going
but-
to concentrate on what's...
So we just wanted to, see what the future of that was going to be.
Okay.
Because if that square footage is changing or anything. Awesome.
No, this is something different.
No, it's that little patio kind
step
of built into the side of the bank. The little brick thing that's,
Can we give Mike a chance to respond to this?
Yeah, this existing patio, it sort of has an old, like a fire grill in there, stairs down, and some planters. It's a masonry. I didn't really notice that it was in a state of disrepair. In fact, it's not bad. I mean, I'm not a mason, but the Conways at the moment have no plans for that. They want to live with the property and see how they use that, and they may come back with an amendment or a new application to do something with that, but right now, there's no plans to do anything with that.
So it'll remain just as is?
Just as is.
And that if any, and your client is well aware that if any activities on it, even to do repairs in kind, would need to be approved by the board?
Yes.
Okay?
I will remind them of that.
Okay,
I think we were just kind of hoping that, okay.
please. Thank you, Mike.
I think that our client was just hoping that there could be some screening from it, because it's directly in their line of sight from every part, when they're up top and then when they go down to their dock, while they live with the property for however long amount of time.
I think that now that that's been brought up, that maybe that could be a topic of discussion.
Okay.
That would, a small amendment, if they're going to live with it and do that, that could be something in the future. to
Okay,
address.
because right now it's shown with lower plantings. We tried to, on our lot line, to put some screening, but it's a tight space on our side. Certainly, they have a lot more on their side, so we just didn't know if, on the plantings next to that fireplace, if, they could,
I think that we put it out there for them to
Okay.
discuss.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we can talk to the Conways about that, but unless there's some other reason to continue it, we'd rather just advise them on that and let them decide.
I don't see that being even part of this. I think that's something that's, because there's no activity proposed there, that if neighbors want to be neighbors and look at the future, that's the future. Today is what we're looking at. If anyone doesn't agree with that, I'm more than willing to hear it. That's how I'm looking at it. Okay. Are there any other comments from the audience? Do we have enough information? I would entertain-
one second. Mike, can you send me I'm looking at the letter you originally sent. Can you just send me all the Conway's information so we can put it on the new order, their address and things like that? I don't see it on this one.
Okay.
I don't see it on your letter. If it's in here, I apologize. If you could just shoot us an email with their correct contact information, we can put it on the new form for you. Thank you.
If we have enough information, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the hearing, take it under advisement.
Second?
We have Russell's motion, Mike's second. Is there any further discussion on the board? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Yep. So, next is request to extend existing orders of condition. First,
Hey, you haven't seen one of these in a while.
I would make one request, that if you want to discuss things, that you do so down the hallway, quite a distance from here, because we still have business to attend to. Thank you very much. All right, the first is Lot 160, Noshon Circle.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you saw this a couple of months ago, the amendment with the house and the pool out on Noshon. It's under construction, they need a 1-year extension. Staff recommends granting that.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Second.
That's Mary's motion, Russell's second. Is there any discussion on the board? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is Lot A and Lot 1A, Tonsett Road.
This is actually the Tonsett, the Old Silver Beach Estates beach maintenance order of conditions. And yes, it does allow for the remainder of some wet rack line, Mary. This was one of the first ones that was written into, so they just want to continue their beach maintenance. I don't see any regulations that have changed that we would modify what you've already approved, so staff is recommending a 1-year extension on this as well.
So moved.
Mary's motion, Mike's second. Any further discussion on the board? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved.
Let's just carry the vote orders over to next week,
Okay, we're going
up to the 25th.
That would be for the Lot 4 ownership
Yep.
one? All right, that brings us to the most important motion for tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
That's Russell's motion, Mary's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved.